Hello, Postscript listeners. Welcome back. Christina and I cannot believe we're already at the season 3 Christmas episode.
I know, Beth. I can't believe it either. We've had so much fun recapping and talking about the first 3 seasons of All Creatures Great and Small back to back. It has become my life. And it's wild to think that we're wrapping it up today.
I know.
Now we're going to have like months
I know.
of not talking about All Creatures Great
I know,
and
I'm
Small.
a little sad. And it's like the slowest binge of TV watching I've ever been on.
I was trying not to watch ahead this season. You know that I failed because Matt really wanted to watch ahead.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I did hold off on this Christmas episode as long as I possibly could.
Well, you did a great job. Thanks for holding
Yeah,
off.
I watched it on Super Bowl Sunday, and it was a mistake. It was right before the game, and then I was sad about the game, too. It was a very sad Sunday for me.
Is this why the Eagles lost? Let's all blame Christina. Anybody listening? It's Christina's
fault. They were
fault.
doing great until Matt went home, so I think it's Matt's fault.
Oh, that's fine. I'll blame anybody.
Okay.
You know,
I mean,
and
it
the
was bad.
defense, but I was a little upset about it, too. Don't worry.
Oh, my gosh.
So do you remember when we had to redo season 1, episode 1 all the way back months ago because it was just like so long?
Yeah, we were going off on too many tangents and we were scatterbrained. I call it monkey mind when you can't stay in one place.
Oh my gosh. I like that.
Yeah, we had monkey mind.
We did have monkey mind.
And a little bit of monkey bodies. We worked that out now before we start recording.
We do this a lot better for you guys who are listening. So thanks for sticking with us.
That episode also had a really graphic, deeper dive into the emasculator. And when we re-recorded, I don't think we kept it because I think I was like, no, guys, I can't do it again.
You had a lot of details.
Oh, it made my stomach hurt. And I don't even have those parts. Like, I felt genuinely terrible. So bad.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was a lot. And I felt bad because I printed my research at work and somebody pulled it off the printer before I did. So somebody got an eyeful.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh, and you talked about the cow birth in like detail, and we were like slip and slide.
Yeah,
out.
we had our arms up.
Yeah, we were demonstrating, even though we're not on video.
Hooves first. Oh my gosh.
It was a lot of fun, though.
It was.
It was good that we messed up the first one and none of the other ones. The other ones were all perfection.
I know, because we're amazing.
Well, we also want to thank you guys for listening because it has been a journey and we were not as good at the beginning as we are now. We're professionals now. So
Totally.
Thank you for listening. Tell all your friends. Subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. And then again, tell all your friends because we want more people to listen.
Share, like,
Comment, follow.
slide into our DMs. DMs. Whoops. This is how professional we are. Slide into our demons. I can't. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So everyone listening, we just wanted to give you a heads up as to what's coming up next. We're actually going to...
We're not taking a break.
We are
We're going
not.
to be jumping right back in.
Yes. We won't be doing All Creatures Great and Small right away because clearly we have to wait
we have
till
to wait
season 4.
Right.
But we will be back
We do
for
not
season
have
4.
that much advance access now.
No. But we are going to have Postscript for Marie Antoinette. And that'll start on March 12th is when we'll introduce the series before it airs on television in the U.S. on March 19th.
Yeah, and between now and then, we'll have some special bonus episodes you won't want to miss. We'll be having like a T101
Yes,
with
I'm excited
Helen,
for that one.
Real soon, and that one will be on video in theory, so you'll be able to watch on YouTube if you would rather not just listen to us. You can see our awkward faces. Let's circle back to that Skelldale quiz, shall we? It turns out that Mrs. Hall is the most popular of our listening group, our small listening group. So we want to thank Mike A., Helen, Amy, Matt, and Casey, who all took the quiz and got Mrs. Hall.
I know.
We're
Literally
the only three.
We're the only 3 who didn't get Mrs. Hall.
We are not the nurturing type.
But we're the perfect little dynamic. You know, we have Siegfried, Helen, and James.
Yeah,
so.
it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
We do need a Tristan. I really thought you were going to be Tristan.
I
think
so
you have a dash of Tristan. I think that's what it is.
I think I just am Tristan.
Right.
Like literally my human form and self is Tristan.
It's Tristan. But somehow
I got James.
You got James.
And I will not retake it. I like Tristan.
I did take
like
mine
James.
twice, and I was still Helen. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel kinship with Helen, so I'll take it. But like, I'm very surprised that so many people got Mrs. Hall. I'm really surprised that my Matt got Mrs. Hall.
I'm surprised that my Casey got Mrs. Hall because
Like-
he is Siegfried.
right.
He's grumpy.
Matt is like a mix of Tristan when
Yeah.
we're fighting, and he's trying to be cute, but also Siegfried because he is a grumpy man. That's why I fell in love with him.
This explains so much. Oh my gosh. So anyway, we're going to switch tunes for Facebook comments. So Allie went out into the world and found some Facebook comments about the finale episode from last week. And some people actually responded with what their thoughts were about around the show.
Right.
So Gary responded, he wrote, "My thoughts are based upon prior hints in the episode. Helen and James looking at refugee children, I knew that would tug at her heart. And when they were discussing James's thoughts, although she didn't want him to go, she commented after seeing their faces. Resisting was the right thing to do and giving James cover to enlist. Also, he commented that Mrs. Pumphrey telling Tristan when you find someone, you hold on to them like a lifetime, influenced him to ask Flo to marry him. It's such great writing and acting."
Well, like a lifeline. I think
Yeah.
she said life.
I think she said lifeline.
But did she? I thought
don't
it was
know.
life preserver. I don't know. But either way, same point.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I
agree.
I don't know if we should thank Mrs. Pumphrey though, because it didn't
Didn't
end
turn out.
well. It didn't end well. She wasn't giving him advice though on that front, so we'll give her that. She just was, in general, saying hang on
yeah.
to people that mean something to you. Yeah. So
and he took it as, I need to hang on to Flo.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
She's my life preserver.
I know.
I must not sink.
But she did open his eyes.
She did.
She did.
Yeah.
So we had somebody else comment, Vern, who was on here previously.
Yeah. Vern,
And
we love you, Vern.
We love you, Vern. He said, "When I watched this episode the first time, the last scene left me with the question, is Tristan going to sign up as well?"
Well, I did not catch that he was going to sign up.
Yeah, I did.
Until you
Yeah.
told me, and I was just like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense."
Well, I like throughout the whole episode, it was, is he going to marry Flo or is he going to go sign up?
See, I just didn't even think it was a possibility, so it was like not even in the realm of possibility for me. Yeah,
Because he's trying to find his way.
But
so that's
yeah,
what I thought, yeah. He also said, "Helen sitting at the bottom of the stairs crying, breaking my heart, knowing that James is doing the right thing, but afraid of what the future holds, afraid that she might lose him."
I didn't actually notice that she was sitting on the step crying.
You didn't
Did
see
I
her
like
crying
go
at the
pee or
steps?
something at that point?
What were you doing?
I don't know. Maybe it was just like
You watched it 3
overwhelmed.
times.
I
Where
did.
were you?
I don't know.
Every time. It was
I
like a
don't
good
know.
10-second scene.
Oh my gosh. I must have
can't
been
believe you
taking
missed that.
notes each time, or maybe I was
Yeah.
researching my closer look like a bad student.
They weren't a bad student 3 times. I'm just kidding. No, you must have seen it, but it was so short, and it was just like,
maybe it
oh,
just
there she
didn't
is. Yeah.
stick with me as much.
Yeah, maybe. You're Helen.
Bye,
so
James.
Vern also said that Siegfried and Mrs. Hall together as proud parents of James and Tristan, reminiscing about the past, concerned what the future will bring, clasping hands in support of one another in the moment, and in that moment, leading me to wonder what the future holds for them as a couple.
Thank you.
I was waiting for you to say
Because
that.
that was the moment that I was like, oh, they're gonna get together. It's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna happen.
They're providing that. They're leading up to it.
There are so many Easter eggs.
I know.
And they're not so subtle anymore.
No, they're not. That's true. So our producer, Allie, responded with, "Tristan's face." I say that because she wrote it in all capitals and an exclamation point. "Oh my goodness, he is such a great actor, but I really don't want either of them to be shipped off. I do think they both will be, and I'm wondering if they'll stay together."
That's a good point. I mean, they're coming from they signed up together and they're coming from the same area, so you think maybe they'd stand a chance of being in the same regiment. Regiment?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. We're just gonna move on.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And then Gary responded to Allie's comment with, "The real question is, will season 4 continue in the same time period, or will it time warp to after the war like the first series did?"
That's really interesting because I haven't watched the first series.
Neither have I.
So
I thought that was interesting too.
they're setting up a lot of character development here, though, like with Tristan becoming a real grown person.
I know.
And going to war.
And on his own.
On his own.
Becoming
breaking
his
free.
own
I
person,
think
growing up.
we might see some of that development. But I didn't know that they like time warped it. So
I didn't know
guess
they time
we'll see
warped
what
either.
the producers do, because this was a real heavy season. Like, some of this was not fun to watch 3 times.
No, and then
I
this whole
cried
episode
a
is just
lot.
tearjerker.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I cried
But
so much.
maybe while we're not talking about all creatures for Postscript, we can just binge this first series. It'll be
We
faster.
gotta find it. We gotta
we
find
gotta
it
find
first.
it. Somebody
But that might
let
be
us know where
fun.
we can find it. All right, so before we start, of course, it's a Christmas episode, and we have the Christmas poppers.
They're not festive at all to match the mood.
No,
No, I'm kidding.
But
They're very
we're gonna
festive,
do
actually.
this before we have to talk about this very, very sad
this
episode.
makes sense. Okay.
All right,
that's
ready?
cool.
1, 2, 3.
Whoa.
Ow, it didn't open. Okay.
Let's see.
What did we get this time?
Let's see here. Oh no, I got a puzzle. I don't like it.
You got a puzzle?
It's some sort of like metal little puzzle that you have to, I assume, get the ring off of.
I got cufflinks.
You fancy.
I know. This
Allie
is great.
got a carabiner.
Oh, nice. Right, these are cufflinks, right? These little things?
They look like
You're shaking your
cufflinks,
head.
yeah.
Thanks, Allie. So Allie got a carabiner.
Which actually is that can be
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah, I will never successfully get this puzzle.
Okay, here's Allie's joke. Ready?
Oh, that's right. There's jokes.
Why is it getting harder to buy advent calendars?
Why?
Because their days are numbered.
Oh God! I forgot there's a crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, my joke is, which of Santa's reindeer has the worst manners?
Dasher? I don't know.
Rudolph. Rude. Rude.
Rude. All right, here's mine. What does a gingerbread man use to make his bed?
Oh, I don't know.
Cookie sheets.
I
great.
love them.
I love these poppers.
I'm gonna post a picture of all of these on our Instagram eventually.
Yes,
So,
please do.
yeah.
So, do you want to take a quick break before we
Yeah,
jump
let's-
into the episode?
Let's take a quick break, get really sad, and then
Yeah.
we'll jump into the episode.
All right,
Okay.
we'll be back.
Support for all creatures, great and small, on Masterpiece is made possible locally by WITF members and by Pleasant View Communities, UPMC, Murray, and Argiers Murati Neurosurgical Associates of Lancaster.
Welcome back, and now we're gonna get very, very sad. So,
Just like the grayness.
yes, Darabee is super gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, producer Allie noticed that it's actually more of a blue tint that they put over everything. She brought up that they are filming in summer, which explains why Siegfried and Tristan sometimes look a little shiny. But
In the snow.
I did not notice that watching it for the first 2 times on my much smaller screen at home.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
didn't
much
notice
smaller
watching
screen.
it my first time.
But it was very gray and very blue. So we kick off at Skeldale, where we meet Ava, who is an evacuee who is obsessed with the Wizard of Oz. And
Yes.
she's introducing all of the main characters of Skeldale House. She says that Tristan and James are like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, waiting
Yeah.
for their adventure.
Who's who? Because she never identifies
She
who's who.
doesn't examine. She does. Well, you go first because I thought you were spot on. So
Oh.
the Scarecrow was
Tristan.
yes, and James is the Tin Man.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
actually remember what they're lacking. The Scarecrow and the Tin Man.
Oh, the Scarecrow doesn't have a brain, and the
okay.
Tin Man doesn't have a heart. Got you.
Okay.
Not that
I
James
wasn't-
doesn't have a heart. Like, he literally does
Well,
have
no,
a heart.
the Tin Man
but-
did have a heart. I remember the Tin Man
No.
was actually no. I mean, but in reality, he was a very empathetic soul.
Oh.
So, but he thought he didn't have a heart.
Oh.
And the Scarecrow thought he didn't have a brain, and he was a little bit dumb. I didn't watch
should
Wizard
probably
of
watch
Oz
that movie
much
again. I haven't watched it in a while.
Well, I remember, like, the Tin Man is very empathetic, right? Like, that's, I think, part of the joke kind of thing.
The only thing I remember is from Wreck-It Ralph, where they're like, Oreo. Oh, and the little Oreos are walking, so it's like them, like the.
I don't think
from
I
the
put
Wizard
two
of
and
Oz?
two together. I've watched Wreck-It Ralph. I love
Have you
Wreck-It
watched?
Ralph.
So the Wizard of Oz, they're like, Oreo.
Okay.
Oh, when they walk into yes, I'm doing the arm movements when they walk into the castle of the witch.
Okay.
They do that. And then
See,
in Wreck-It Ralph, they do Oreos and their little Oreos.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I don't remember. Maybe that's why I didn't put two and two together. Because honestly, I didn't watch movies that scared me. But I was afraid of flying monkeys. When she said the flying monkeys were terrifying, I was like, yeah, girl, that's why I didn't watch it.
So I did do a closer look on The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Yeah, I just could not do
Well,
that.
I mean, she talks about it constantly throughout
the overarching theme.
episode.
So it came out in the U.S. in August 1939, but in the U.K. in November.
Okay.
So that's why it's very fairly new in this little girl's
nice,
mind.
fresh, exciting experience.
Yeah.
Probably something really special because war.
Yeah, and that she saw probably right before she had to leave.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's
Poor
an
girl.
adaptation of L. Frank Baum's 1900s children fantasy novel.
Okay. This does not feel like a children's story, but continue.
It was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and it won the Best Original Song Over the Rainbow.
Okay. That tracks. That's still a very popular song.
Oh, yeah. And Best Original Score for Stothart.
Okay. Okay.
And in 1989, so it got revamped and re-released and
Right.
re-released.
What is it? Remastered?
I guess. It didn't do well the first time.
Oh, it was a
actually
cult classic.
Yeah, it didn't give MGM. It was like MGM didn't make money off of it.
Okay.
The first time it went out.
It
finally made
little
money
bit of a
later.
dud. Yeah.
Yeah. And so in 1989, it was selected by the Library of Congress as one of the first 25 films for preservation in the United States National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant.
That's interesting because I was born in 85 and I feel like everybody who grew up in the 90s for some reason saw The Wizard of Oz. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
it's
I
an
saw
old
it.
movie.
Yeah.
I was terrified of everything. So those freaking flying monkeys. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
We see that Siegfried, Helen, and Audrey are all playing like a Scrabble game.
I'm giggling because of the word he uses.
He uses the word scratch.
I looked it up.
Yeah, tell me what it. Well, I looked it up too, but you tell us. Tell us
Okay.
what it means.
So
because
I
he's
actually
filthy.
when I say
Siegfried is filthy.
Not in this company can he say it. But Urban Dictionary says that it's scratching your crotch.
Okay.
Was one of them, and then the
That's
other
one of them,
one, which you know, was the act of mightily punching a man's balls after he said something you don't agree with or find offensive.
I saw on that description it said usually someone you know well.
Did it say that?
I think so. At
I
the
missed
very
that.
bottom, it was like basically people that you know and love. That's what you scratch.
So now I get why he didn't want to say it in front
Yeah,
of.
and Eva is like, that's not a real word, and she messes up the Scrabble board. I'm like, that little brat, but like I can't be too mad at her because she's an evacuee and she's like away from her parents, so she gets a pass. But yeah, she just like grabs it and like tears apart the Scrabble board.
Sounds like a typical thing for a kid to do.
But the phone rings and she thinks it's her mom, and it's actually some old man. And it's Seabright Saunders he calls with a problem with River. So that's setting us up for part of the drama. But yeah, she's just like, oh, it's just some old man. And then, so Siegfried's off to Saunders. River is injured. His leg is swollen. Possibly a small fracture of the medial splint. I can't remember.
I think.
Medial.
Yeah, that's
I missed
the
an
area
L
of
on
the
my
leg.
notes. Siegfried finds out that Tristan is going to be called into service from Seabright Saunders.
Yep. And the first thing I thought of was, do not interfere, Siegfried. Not
Well,
again. Just leave him alone and let him live his life.
We all knew that he
know.
was going to try to interfere. So Seabright Saunders implies that he could have a word with the colonel if Siegfried can get River ready to run in a few days for, I guess it was like starter day or something like that. But now Siegfried's faced with this dilemma because if River runs, there's a chance of serious injury. If a horse breaks its leg,
I mean,
it's done for.
Yeah.
Especially because this is a racing horse. And
Well, he mentioned he'll just take him to the market.
oh my God, I missed that.
You did?
They're so brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. So if he runs, there's a serious chance of injury. And Saunders basically says, then you best see him right.
Well, he also
So he,
said
like,
that the colonel
threatens.
really likes River.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, So Siegfried worked so hard to get River to the point that he could run. And he's just going to throw that all away.
For his little brother.
I get it.
He
but
wants
also
to interfere in Tristan's
it's not
life.
his business.
He wants to tell Tristan what to do.
Right.
Because he knows best.
He thinks he knows best.
This is when I get mad at Siegfried.
Yeah. I get it, because you're the baby of the family.
I'm the baby of
too.
the family.
So anyways, Siegfried has this dilemma on his hands, and he wants the best of both worlds. He wants to help River, but he also doesn't want Tristan to go to war.
Exactly.
So back at Scaledale, Eva is practicing piano, and she tells Audrey that the piano's out of tune. I thought that was really funny.
The first time I watched, I was like, oh, it is. And then the second time I was like, oh,
no.
she stinks.
She's just not that good at it.
Piano. But the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, she knows if it's out of tune. That's cool.
No.
Second time I
Because
realized.
Mrs. Hall is just like, I'm sure that's it.
Yep. That was the second time I watched it. I was like, oh.
And we find out that there's been another attempted raid over Glasgow. James is frustrated.
Yes.
That he and Tristan haven't been called out yet. And I think James is just really frustrated because he's just stuck there doing nothing, and his parents are kind of in danger there.
Oh, yeah.
There's attempted raids going on in his hometown. Mrs. Pumphrey calls about a stray cat at her estate, and we also find out that, this is how we find out that Eva is Jewish. She asks who Noel is.
Yeah.
And then she goes into this little, she has to explain what Hanukkah is to these grown adults at the table, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know why we're in 1939 and they don't know what Hanukkah is. I was like, what? How do you not know what Judaism is?
Yeah, the first time I watched, I was like, oh, this is just like our little peek into Eva is Jewish.
Yeah.
And so they were like, letting
and this
her
is how
explain
you do it. Yeah.
But it does seem odd that all of the adults in the room didn't know. So Eva does share the basics of Hanukkah. And she also asks if she gets to do Christmas since she's at Scaledale House this year. And then asks if she can go with James to Mrs. Pumphrey. It's very much like a child. It's all over the place.
Asking a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
She's real curious. I like her. Siegfried tells the boys that River is staying at Scaledale for a few days to reduce the swelling in River's legs. So they're going to keep a real close eye on River. And Siegfried admits that he has a few days' time to get River ready for the race. Mm-hmm. Siegfried asked Tristan to stay.
Tristan, I'd like you to stay. If you could stay, keep the leg bathed with water. It's important to keep it as cool as possible.
Think I can manage that?
Just for an hour, then you can get back to the surgery.
Not that we have any patience.
Well, you have to be here in case you're needed. An emergency could turn up at any time.
If you say so.
I just... got to get some air.
Siegfried just needs courage to
Yeah.
tell him he's screwing it all up.
Obviously, it's not about the vetting. And I'm just like, just tell him you're scared and you love him. From
Yeah.
the very start of this episode, I'm just like, Siegfried, just say it. Say it out loud. So anyways, this is not about the vetting. We are going to jump ahead to Pumphrey Manor, though. We're going to follow James and Eva. Mm-hmm. And Eva is telling James all about Dorothy's ruby slippers that can take her magically home. And we find out that Mrs. Pumphrey has a stray mama cat named Debbie, who Tricky really likes. This cat has gone missing for a few days, and when she came back, she brought a kitten with her.
Adorable.
I love
I'll
kittens.
take the kitten.
It's so cute. Eva asks to examine the kitten, and the little kitten makes a little mew. And that just tugged at my heartstrings because Baba is still relatively small. And I still remember the little mews when it was cute when she was biting you and not painful. So Marjorie Pumphrey, we find out her first name. She introduces herself. I don't think she's ever introduced herself with her first name before. So I was like, it's Marjorie. Eva shares how different her life is in the countryside versus the city. In the city, she doesn't have a garden or brothers or sisters to play with. And Mrs. Pumphrey says something that I paraphrase sometimes. Those who are able to entertain themselves are never bored.
True.
And yeah, I loved it. And then Eva sees the chocolates because she is a child. And if there is chocolate in the room, they will find it.
Yes. I smell it about a mile away.
She says, are those chocolates? And Mrs. Pumphrey kind of goes, yes, they are. And she says, these are too rich for Tricky. And I'm just like, why is nobody telling her that chocolate will literally kill your dog?
Oh, she knows.
Like, what is
She looks
this?
right at James, and James makes a face
He's
like,
just
do
too
not
rich.
feed him chocolate.
And then Eva says, this is a big house for one person. And Mrs.
Yeah.
Pumphrey's like, that's why I like when people visit.
And she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this kitten is in good health. But Debbie, Mama Cat, needs a frickin' break.
I relate.
I get it.
I relate.
And so they're going to take the kitten to Skeldale to bottle feed it so that Debbie can have a little vacation.
That is like the best thing you
So
could ever do
nice.
is give a mom a break. I'm happy for Debbie.
I'm very happy for Debbie, too. And also, this kitten's going to get doted on. So it's not like,
Oh, yeah.
this kitten's going to be fine. Back at Skeldale, Tristan is bored out of his gourd. He's waiting for somebody to show up. Nobody's showing up. So he just says, screw it, I'm going to Drover's. And he goes to Drover's and hangs out with Maggie. And there he admits that he and Flo are done. But first, he says, she got too attached naturally. And then he admits that he asked her to marry him. And she said no. Maggie laughs at him,
Of course.
which felt less mean than when Siegfried did it.
I forgot what she called him, too. Oh, I thought I wrote it down, but I missed
Oh,
it.
no. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But basically, she asked if it was a romantic proposal. It was not, because he proposed next to the drain at the side of Flo's house.
Why did you propose? And he's like, next to the drain.
I think that's romantic, but like the whole proposal itself, like it just seemed really nice. Anyways, back on
it
track.
did.
He said that the breakup brought into focus what he should be doing with his life.
Yeah, Flo helped him.
Flo helped him to realize that. And so he leaves. He says, put a pint in the till for Arthur for when he gets back and to put it on his bill. And she said,
Which is high.
I've been meaning to talk to you about this. Yeah. So did you take a closer look at the numbers?
I did. So she brings over like the ledger that she's keeping for him, and it's 2 pages when you open it.
Right.
And
it's like a full planner
the full
spread.
year.
It's a full spread.
Yeah, it's the full year. It's literally the full season. Like, so it's Tristan Farnan is like at the top. So in January,
Oh, so his name is on the top.
Oh yeah, it's
Okay,
on both
I didn't see
pages.
that.
So it's from January to December. In January, he had 1 ale, 1 mild, 2 ale, and 2 sherries. In February, 1 ale, 1 half pint ale, and 1 ale. Wait, why did I write that twice? I guess it's written twice. It must be a different day.
Maybe it was like,
because there was a space
consecutive
between different
visits,
days. In March, 2 ales, 1 half pint ale, 1 whiskey, 1 half pint ale. In April, 1 mild, 1 gin, 2 ales, 1 mild, 2 half pint ales.
A gin drinker. I like it.
Or he's just buying for everybody, because it seems
true.
like he's just buying for everybody. But April was 2 days too. May, 2 whiskey, 2 half pint ale, 2 ale, and 1 gin. In June, 1 mild, 1 half pint ale, 1 ale. July, 2 ale, 1 mild, 1 gin. August, 2 whiskey, 1 ale, 1 half pint ale. September, 2 ale, 1 mild, 2 ale, 2 half pint ales, 1 mild and 1 ale. In October, 2 ale, 2 mild, 2 half pint ales, 3 ales, 1 gin. November,
That's a lot.
2 whiskey, 2 sherry, 3 ales. December, 3 ales, 1 whiskey, and 1 half pint ale. In November, I don't know if, because I remember them going out the last episode to the Drovers or something like that, and Helen
Right. Well, I think that
brought
was
them over drinks, so that could have just been on his bill.
the previous episode, I think, was still in September, right?
Oh, was it?
So he did a lot of
yeah,
drinking
it was,
between
yeah.
then.
That's a lot
then
of
in
drinking.
December.
Oh, since he signed up, he's been drinking a lot.
Well,
look at that.
That's a nice reflection
Yeah.
on his state of mind. Out of boredom, I guess, and
guess.
anxiety.
Yeah. So so looking at that, it looked like the total bill was 12.2 pounds.
Okay.
Because it was really hard to read.
Right. That doesn't seem like a lot today.
No. But
Yes.
I did the
Conversion.
conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word. And today it would be 1,020.25
gosh.
pounds today.
I would throw up on the bar.
Yeah. And then in U.S. It's a lot of drinking. In U.S. dollars, it comes to about $1,225.38.
That's even more.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's mad at her for
letting it
him
get that high.
And she's like, you said you'd be able to pay. He's like, of course I said I'd be able to pay.
I'll pay you next time. I'll pay you
So
next time.
part of the reason that he may be leaving town is because he has this really big barbell.
Oh, yeah.
But, okay, so we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we will talk about Gerald doing Audrey real dirty.
I know.
And so let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Support for all creatures, great and small, on Masterpiece is made possible locally by WITF members and by Pleasant View Communities, UPMC, Murray, and Argiers Murati Neurosurgical Associates of Lancaster.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, so we are going to go shopping with Audrey in town.
Because she's not buying for a party.
No, it's not a party. It's
not
just
a
a small
party.
get-together with a couple of people.
It's just a gathering.
Right, a gathering. A
With
small
some people.
gathering.
That turns out to be a lot of people. Just a gathering.
Because Tristan invites all of Drovers, essentially. So Audrey's shopping for the Christmas get-together and finds Gerald. He asks after Edward and we find out that Edward is still at sea, and he says he's enjoying himself, but she says that's probably just to keep her from worrying.
Probably.
Legit. I love that they're still writing, though, so this was lasting. I love it. Gerald says that he's leaving, just drops that bomb
Like what?
casually. He's taken a job in Hull.
They hang out all the time. But I don't know if they've spoken since the last date. The date incident.
I assumed when he walked by in September and the war was declared and Helen's like, you don't have to make this complicated. He's a nice man who cares about you, that she then went out with him, didn't she? Didn't they go for a walk?
Oh, they did go for a walk.
Yeah, they went for a walk.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I'm like, am I remembering
No, you
the wrong
did.
thing? Okay, so they have spoken.
Yeah, they have.
But like this whole season has been like, will they or won't they? And now he's just like, well, I took a job in Hull, so I'm leaving tomorrow.
But
And
he's
he didn't
leaving,
bother-
and that leaves room for Siegfried.
It's true. That was my first thought, actually.
That's my first thought. I was thinking about you.
But yeah, so he just drops his bomb. He's leaving after Christmas, and he's just like, yeah, just casually. And she's like, oh, well, you should come over. We're just having drinks with a few people. And he said he'll drop by on the way out of town. Like, how nice of you, Gerald. Just drop that bomb on poor Audrey.
I know.
So I feel real bad for her. And like, I'm a little bit mad at Gerald because he had a lot of time to say, like, I'm thinking about taking a job in Hull, or I'm going to be taking a job in Hull. I'm leaving in a few weeks. But he doesn't do that.
I
And
mean,
I'm
how
mad
do you
at
tell
him.
somebody that you love?
Yeah,
you know?
in the
you
liking
'em.
way.
We haven't
Right.
gotten to love yet, but
Right.
he cares for her deeply. So
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
hard.
I don't know. I'm mad at Gerald, but he's so charming that I forgive him. Back at Scaledale, a select few people are coming around for a glass of sherry.
And food and dessert.
And the boys and Helen are both kind of ribbing on her, saying that it's all a ruse. And she admits that, yeah, it's Gerald. He's going, so he's coming to say goodbye
But that's
because
it.
he's going.
Yeah.
That's it. At dinner, we see that Mrs. Hall found 8 candles so that the household can celebrate Hanukkah. And
That was adorable.
yeah, Eva does her little, oh my gosh.
She sings
prayer. I want to say
the
prayer, but
prayer,
that's
yeah.
not it. The blessing. She
Yeah.
sings the blessing. It's a really
Well,
sweet
they say
moment.
amen at the end, so.
It's true. It's true. It's my church going ways.
Yeah.
But before they light the candles, Allie spotted a rather spicy, flirtatious look from Siegfried towards
Yes.
Audrey when she asks him to get the lights. I did not notice it, so we rewound it, and I was like, "Oh!"
And he's like, of course.
yeah, of
Flirty,
course.
flirt.
wink, wink, without winking.
Oh, the Farnham boys.
So I think maybe she's reading into it because she knows that I'm obsessed with Audrey and Siegfried getting together. Siegfried, after dinner, Siegfried is researching the injury that River has, and it doesn't appear to look good. He is also talking to his rat, Vonelel. I'm really bad at saying his name.
I don't know how.
Audrey walks in and says, still prefer the company of animals to people, I see. And Siegfried basically pours his heart out to her because she seems to get everybody's heart confessions.
Oh, yeah.
And Audrey kind of launches into this whole, it's hard to see your children grow up and go away and make something of their life without you. And he's like, well, I wouldn't know that. And she's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, you raised
So.
Tristan. Calm down, dude.
Yeah. She gently suggests that he does not interfere with Tristan's life.
She knows he's going to.
Right.
Because he doesn't know how to
Everybody
not.
knows Siegfried better than Siegfried.
Yeah.
And he's disappointed that the tea that she's brought him doesn't have any whiskey in it. But she wants him to take himself to bed after he drinks it.
Right.
And she's very helpful, but very gentle, and I appreciate it. The mail arrives, and Siegfried basically knows that Tristan's call-up letter is in that mail. And he says to Vonelel, I think that's how you say it, I know you don't want to go back in there, because he's out of his cage, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't want to go back in there, but you're domesticated. If I let you out, the world will eat you up. And we all know
He's talking about Tristan.
this is Tristan.
Yep.
And I think it's funny that Siegfried secretly has such tender feelings about Tristan, but will not say it out loud to his face. It's annoying.
He never does.
Ava
frustrating.
excitingly asks when they're going to be putting the socks out and asks if she'll be getting presents this year. And they kind of go over their usual Christmas thing. Like they go to midnight mass. They put out a mince pie for Santa. Santa apparently eats
that's
really
pie.
well.
I just
in the
do
UK.
cookies.
Right. I think it's cookies and carrots.
I do cookies I can eat.
I think the reindeer still get carrots, right?
I
In the
give
UK,
carrots,
I think
yeah.
he said carrots.
yeah.
And Helen sends Eva off to show Jenny the kitten. And you can tell that James is just really anxious to get called up too.
He is,
they're
this whole
both so
episode.
bored. They both look like they're crawling out of their skin and they want to be called up.
Well, if
I
they're
don't
not
know.
doing anything. And
Yeah.
James tested all the cows.
He tested all the cows.
He went
at
back
Olive
to
Derby.
the Aldersons farm somehow in a couple months.
True,
so it's
true,
did he
true.
really test? He's supposed to be in the county over testing them.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But-
there's supposed to be so much testing to do.
I
But he just
know.
seems bored, or maybe he's just anxious to actually do something
Probably.
that he feels is more
And if
useful.
Tristan's so bored, why wouldn't he just go help James test the cows?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Anyway, so Tristan is bored. There's no animals to treat, and he asks where Siegfried is and finds out he's at the Sonder estate. So he's off to see if he can help.
He has something up his sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think- you
Tristan's
think
face
he's
is
already
all
onto
like,
something?
he's onto something like, oh, well, why is he over there? What's he doing? Because Siegfried wants River to race,
Right.
but says River can't race.
Right.
And so
River is
Tristan's like,
injured and-
I'm just going to go help my brother and see
Just-
what he needs.
just give him a
I'm
second
bored.
eye."
Let's see. Check in on him.
Yeah. So he does. He goes to the Saunders estate. Is that what it is? Anyways, he sees him testing River's trot, and we find out in a side conversation that the Colonel has secretly relieved Tristan of his call-up letter, that he can safely ignore the letter. He doesn't have to do anything with it. But Tristan looks back at Siegfried and Seabray and sees them this shady little handshake happening between them. And I think that's the moment where he's like, something is up here. And that's when River also pulls up his leg because his leg is still hurt.
Yeah.
So Siegfried examines the horse River again and says he needs 3 months rest and rehab. Saunders says the Colonel won't be happy about that news. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you don't do this for me, Tristan's going to war. And
Which is rude.
it is rude. Siegfried says in front of Tristan, he says, well, we can give him a painkiller so he can run. And Tristan is appalled.
I think
Like-
I'd be Tristan at this point.
I would,
Tristan has
yeah.
had it with Siegfried.
Right.
And I feel it.
Yeah.
He
He's
is just
fed up.
He is
He's
so
been
fed up with
holding it in
Siegfried.
for so long.
Yeah, and he's just like every chance he gets, he speaks out to Siegfried. It's very, I mean, that really just shows Tristan's growth is that he's finally standing up to his brother.
Right. He's reaching
Which-
his breaking point.
Yeah, and he has not done that for so long.
Right.
And he's finally standing up to his brother. You've told me my whole life.
Yeah.
This is what we're
The
supposed to
animals
do.
come first.
And you're going to go and let this animal run?
Yeah,
That's
it
not
doesn't
okay.
make
He's not
any sense.
He's not doing well. And then Siegfried just go home.
Yeah, he sends him away.
Yeah.
And then Siegfried addresses River directly and says, it's my little brother. You have to understand. And I think this horse is like, no, I'm getting a real bad deal here. I don't think River's in for this because Tristan has chosen.
Yes.
He's made his choice. River has no choice.
And
Poor
Siegfried just
baby.
keeps messing up.
So, yeah. And Siegfried's willing to sacrifice River just to stop Tristan from being called up, which he signed up to do. So that's
Yeah.
stupid. Anyways, back at Scaledale, Audrey is beside herself because nobody's invited anyone
Didn't
to
you
the
invite
small
anyone?
get-together. So if it's just them and Gerald, he's going to know.
That I did this whole thing just for him.
Right. And so it is all part of a ruse. But Tristan assures her that he told Maggie to invite some people from the Drovers. So there will be people there. And there's
And
plenty
then
of
half the
people
town
there.
comes. That's literally something I do.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Well, so when I
It's
was a
just a
kid,
small
I said, I
get-together.
just want to invite Mom. Can I invite like 20 people to my birthday party? I was 13.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay,
my mom's like,
20
sure.
people.
And I have a winter birthday. So like we're indoors.
Oh, God.
It's not a
So
mansion.
So it's more than 20 people, I assume, showed
So
up.
I had 20 people invited, and I sent them invitations and handed them out in class and all this other stuff. And then somebody was like, "Can I come?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Can I come?" "Yeah, sure."
course.
Sorry, my mom only gave me a couple invitations. 32 people.
Oh,
showed
no.
up.
That's a lot of extra people when you're
32.
expecting 20.
So we had like 32 kids out in the street playing
my
basketball.
God.
We had 32 kids for one cake. We had 32
Those
kids
are tiny pieces
for
of
20
cake.
people.
The
20
ratio
people
of cake
of
to people
pizza.
is too small.
My mom was like, "Not." She's like, "You're
never doing this
she's
again.
yeah, and like my two best friends were like sleeping over that night because it's my birthday, and my mom's like, "You can have them sleep over, but you are grounded." I was like, I can't help it. I don't know how to
just
say
so
no.
popular.
Yep, that was
That's really rude.
7th grade me.
Someday this is going to come back and bite you in the butt because you
My
have
kids will
children.
do it.
Yeah.
My kids will do it. We were having like a dance party in the living room. Everybody's dancing and jumping up and down. 7th graders.
Oh my God, that
32
sounds like
people.
a nightmare. Literal nightmare.
From then on, all of our parties were in the summer because we had the pool.
Oh, okay.
So I can
then
invite
you can
however
have
many
as
kids I wanted.
That was a smart move.
I just said, everybody come, and I had a pool party every summer instead of a birthday
Okay.
party.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a good compromise.
Yeah. So I was like, okay.
Anyways, here at Scaledale, we also see Tristan is super confused that Siegfried isn't putting the animal first at the Saunders estate. And something clicks where he puts 2 and 2 together and he goes, oh, he's not trying to get me out. He's trying to keep me here.
Yeah.
Tristan just knows Siegfried so well because I don't know if I would have put 2 and 2 together at this point, but maybe if Siegfried were my brother, I'd probably be able to.
Well, because Siegfried's always in his life and dictating what he needs to do and everything.
Yeah,
So it
he
just
like
clicked.
clicks, and he's just like,
And
well,
James
I'm
is
gonna-
like, he wouldn't do that.
and he's like, yeah, he would. And so Tristan decides to call the racehorse and report that River is not fit to run.
The race course.
Race course? Did I say racehorse?
You did.
Okay.
That's
Well, he
okay.
calls the race
He
course.
could call River.
He calls River and says, you're not fit to run. I'm going to do you a solid. And back at the Saunders estate, Saunders is furious because a vet named Farnan has reported his horse unfit to race. And I thought this was so dumb. Like, I don't understand why they wrote that in. Why he wasn't just furious, period. Because it's like he forgot that Tristan exists.
Like,
Even though
literally, he was there
literally
20 minutes
just
ago.
there watching the horse. So anyway, I thought that was really unbelievable. And I don't know why they did that. But back at Scaledale.
We are jumping.
We are.
This is a
jumping all
jumpy
around.
episode, yeah.
There's actually not a whole lot of jumping, but this moment was a lot of jumping around.
Yeah.
Audrey is disappointed when the party is happening, and the doorbell rings. She thinks it's Gerald. It's not Gerald. It's just Mr. Dinsdale.
She
like,
throws
whatever,
a sherry
come
back.
in.
She's like, gulp, gulp, gulp. Gotta get ready.
And then we find out also at this party's a real downer because Richard is Father Christmas.
That's a poor choice.
He's just not very friendly.
I don't get, why wouldn't
really-
James be Father Christmas?
I don't know.
He
He's
did
so
it before.
aggressive.
Richard's
Richard
like,
is so aggressive.
Are you gonna ask me a question? Come
Here's
in
the
here.
orange. You'll like it.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Pumphrey's there. She finds out that Toto is doing well. And she finds out that Toto is named Toto. That's the kitten. I did not introduce that well. Ava knows that there's... they're only saying that Toto should stay with her because they think it'll make her happy.
Yeah.
And then Helen asks Ava if she'd like to meet someone special, Father Christmas. And Helen kind of says that her dad might put Eva off for Christmas for good. But immediately Eva knows that Richard's a fake. He sits on the throne of lies. This is not actually Santa. He hands her an orange and she says, don't you have any sweets? And he's like, no, I've got an orange. Like he's just
Thanks.
so brass. And then the doorbell rings again. And Audrey takes a shot of liquid courage.
Oh,
goes
that's
to
when
answer-
she does it.
yeah,
Okay, I
that's
thought
what-
she did it before
Well,
Dinsdale.
she might have before.
Okay.
She's expecting Gerald. She's
Yeah.
very nervous. I
She's
didn't
throwing him
notice,
back.
but anyways, she's taking another shot of liquid courage, and it is Gerald and Brock, and they're at the party.
Yay!
And he says, "I'm just stopping on my way through, though. I can't stay. Come on, Gerald. Come on."
How rude.
It
He's
is
heartbroken.
So rude. I guess.
He doesn't want to be around for too long.
This is his last chance.
But he'll probably want to stay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He took a job. Maggie came to the party just to talk with Tristan, and we see he doesn't make a move on her when she leaves either. So that's some real growth for him. Siegfried arrives angry.
Tristan!
And he hollers for Tristan, and they have it out in the kitchen. Tristan basically
Proud of Tristan for
lays
everything.
it all out. He said the animal always comes first, and Siegfried's like, not in this case, it doesn't.
He's literally just using
Yeah.
everything that Siegfried has ever told him and ever taught him over
Against
the years. Again, like, Siegfried, these are your words.
Yeah.
This is what you've told me. And now you're not doing it.
I'm just nodding
Why?
along.
Why?
What is this? What is this thing? And he said, you think I'm stupid, don't you? And they have it out. And Siegfried basically says that Tristan was their parents' favorite, that he was this miracle baby, this miracle child.
Which
So he was a
explains the big gap
surprise.
between the
There's a
kids.
big age gap. And Siegfried knew he would never be able to replace the love his parents gave Tristan. So there's a lot of guilt at play here.
Yeah.
And, Siegfried was tasked with making sure Tristan did well. So all of this comes pouring out. And Siegfried finally says, if anything happened to you, it would be the end of me. I bloody love you, you damn fool. And I'm just like, finally, oh my God, that is what I've been asking you to say from the very beginning.
Yeah, it only took him 20 some odd years to tell him that he
So
loved him.
annoying. But anyway, so it's finally out. He loves his brother. It's normal. Tristan is speechless, doesn't know what to do with this. And Siegfried hands him his call-up letter, says he doesn't have to go. But Tristan's like, I have to go.
Yep.
I can't be who I'm supposed to be if you're there telling me what I'm not. Siegfried's not okay, and I'm not either. This is like the first time I really, really cried in this episode. And Siegfried's kind of lamenting Tristan leaving, saying to Audrey that he should have listened to her. You always seem to know what's best for me. And his hand was so close to hers, and I was just like,
I think he put it there.
He wants her to take his hand.
Yeah, I think he put
So-
it there so that she would take it.
Yeah.
And she's like not even listening to
Well,
him.
now she's just like, I have to go.
Yeah.
Because she has to
Sorry.
find Gerald.
Sorry, bro. Gotta go get my boo.
Yeah. And she just abruptly leaves, which is really out of character for her because
It
she's
is.
always the caretaker of Siegfried.
Yeah.
He took her for granted, though. And she's panicking. She's looking all around. Gerald's not here because he just slipped out.
She sits on the steps,
with Rock.
giving up.
Yeah, she sits on the
Like,
steps.
and
She's
he's
sad.
gone.
And he comes back in.
Yay!
And she runs towards him.
I'm getting chills.
Just kisses him. And like there's a moment where they break apart and then he looks at her lips and I'm like, oh boy, Gerald, I think you may have converted me. Now I'm Team Gerald. Hello, Gerald. I will take one too, please.
Yeah.
So they break apart from the first kiss and he goes, I grabbed the wrong coat.
I just grabbed the wrong
and the
coat.
music stops.
I like,
And then he
oh.
goes, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
And that was a good save. But
And then they kiss again.
after their second, as they're kissing the second
Yeah.
time, Siegfried walks in. He does not look happy. So once again, an Easter egg. I think there's a love triangle
This is a
happening
triangle.
here.
Yeah.
This is a love triangle.
Yeah.
And now we're fast forwarding to the next morning. It's Christmas! And Eva is so excited. She's waking everyone up just like I did when I was a kid. As soon as I was awake, I was like, it's stocking time. So everyone's awake. The stocking's up. She tears it down to empty it. There's no coal.
Thank goodness.
She
It's
seems-
not Tristan's stocking after all.
Right. She seems a little disappointed about her stocking gifts. But then they give her a little gift from everyone. And it's ruby slippers. They're so cute. They're shiny. They're like
They did a
everything
really
that
good
I
job.
would want to do.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, with
that's
the
what I
little bow.
want in a shoe. Yes,
Yes.
it's
the little bow.
adorable.
It was amazing.
She loves them. She puts them on, clicks her heels 3 times, and says, "There's no place like home." And they don't work. And then my heart goes, oh no, this makes so much sense. Everyone's kind of chuckling, and she says, "Why are you looking at me?" And she runs out. And I'm just so sad.
I know.
She
I'm
wants
so
to go
sad.
home.
Yep.
So
No wonder she is like idolizing the Wizard of Oz too.
Right.
It's all
Just
about
this
this
magic-
other world,
Right,
and
they're on
she's
this
not at home.
adventure.
She's on an adventure, and she
But
should be going home.
at any point she
she's
can
not.
click her heels and go home
Yep.
magically. It's real sad. She runs off. Siegfried goes after her, and she says to Siegfried that Toto should go back to being with his mother. Family should be together. And Siegfried tells her it's okay to be upset. She's allowed to miss home. And she reminds him that he's allowed to cry too about Tristan, and he tears up. And this is when I cry again, because grown men crying is like a thing for me. When my dad lost his mom to cancer, I remember being 5 years old. I walked in. He was crying on the bed. And I said, "Are you okay?" And he explained everything, and he was crying. So I grew up in a house where men cry, and it gets my heart every time. But at dinner that night, Tristan gives this beautiful toast to remember everyone who isn't with them at Christmas.
Christmas is a time for family. Those that are here, and especially those who are not. All of us are missing someone. Most we'll see another time. Others we won't. I want to remember them and give thanks to those who filled the hole they left behind. Especially my brother, who made a promise to our dying father that he would take care of me, make sure I was properly educated, and that I would make something of myself. So he was in for hiding from the outset.
Wasn't that bad?
No, it definitely was. But he never gave up on me. No matter how much I wished he would, and I certainly gave him enough reason to. Lesser men would have thrown in the towel, but he didn't. And I want to thank him for it. I love you, Siegfried. So, I guess the only thing left to say is Merry Bloody Christmas.
Merry bloody Christmas!
So there wasn't a dry eye.
Nope.
At that table, and I think it was all real tears. I don't think any of those were fake. And that set us up for basically the final, well, it is the final scene of this episode. Siegfried taking Tristan to the train station and seeing him off for his deployment. Tristan tells Eva to take care of the kitten, and she says to look after himself too. He hands the car keys to Helen, his pride and joy. She says, "In good hands." James and Tristan hug. Tristan promises to write. James seems super jealous.
He does.
Yeah.
His body language and his face is all very I wish I was going.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just wonder.
He's frustrated because he wants to be doing something. I get it.
Yeah.
I can understand that. He asks Mrs. Hall to take care of his brother for him, and she says as much as he'll allow, which I thought was
very
cute.
accurate.
And, yes, accurate. Everyone's crying. I'm crying. Skelldale House is just not the same without Tristan and that little family unit as they drive away. I don't like it.
Who's going to be the lighthearted goofball?
Yeah, who is going to be the lighthearted goofball?
I guess Eva.
I guess. We don't know how long Eva's with them, but maybe it would be nice if they brought her back for the next season.
Yeah.
And at the train station, Siegfried is walking him in, carrying his luggage. He's being this doting big brother. He wants to see Tristan off. And before the train leaves, he says, "Just don't do anything stupid. Promise me." And Tristan responds, "I promise I won't disgrace the family name," because that's usually the dynamic.
Yes.
But Siegfried's serious. And he's like, "No, seriously, don't do anything stupid." And Tristan counters with, "And break the habit of a lifetime." And I'm like, Tristan, just promise him, for the love of God, do this one thing.
It's something I would say. You want me to stop doing what I've always done?
This is who I am. I'm sorry. Tristan puts out his hand to shake his brother's hand, but Siegfried hugs him, and he's like,
"Are we a hugging family?
Are we huggers now?"
Yeah.
And Siegfried finally says, "I'm so damn proud of you." And then Tristan's crying, Siegfried's crying, everybody's crying.
I'm crying.
But they bring it back full circle, which I thought was so great. And I love the producers for this. As he's leaving, he says, "You got your tickets?" And Tristan's like, "I don't need one." And he's like, "I'm sorry about the tab." And Siegfried's just like, what tab? Is that why you're going? A bar tab? And Siegfried and Tristan are smiling at each other as the train pulls away, but then they cry. And like on the big screen, you can see Tristan's lips quiver.
Quivers,
Like
yeah.
that killed me. And but Tristan is riding in the storage car again. Like he doesn't have a seat. He doesn't have a
doesn't.
ticket. He's just
It's the same as the
bumming
way,
a ride,
same as the way
same
he came
way he
in.
was introduced, and it was
Yep.
so beautiful. And I loved
was.
it so much.
His acting this whole season, and especially this episode, was just phenomenal. It really was.
He has to have the most range, I feel like, because he goes from total goofball
Yeah.
to actual serious grown man. Like that toast was heart-wrenching and beautiful. So, I mean, yeah,
But even like the lip quiver, the tears,
Yeah.
like when he's talking to, giving the
little
toast,
tiny details,
like the,
little sniffles.
you know,
oh my
like,
gosh, yeah.
his nose flares in one part. It makes me wonder.
Is it when he's trying to not scream
when
at
he's
Siegfried?
no, when
No.
he was giving the
Okay.
speech.
Oh, okay,
It like flared up. You know,
Okay.
when sometimes you cry, you
I
try
wonder
to
if-
stop crying, and then
So I think that they all think that they're the characters they're playing in the moment. That's my theory.
they have to.
Like they're
Yeah.
so good at just being
wonderful,
that character.
wonderful acting.
But yeah, he's fantastic. I have fallen so in love with Tristan
I
this
know.
season.
This is
that-
why you love me. I'm just kidding.
It's why I love you, because you're Tristan.
No, but yeah, he did a great job. This as sad as this episode was to see Tristan go, I really hope that we see him next season.
Right. And I think he's going to, hopefully he's fine and it turns out a happy story and he goes
Yeah.
on a lot of fun adventures. But I think he's grown a lot and I think he's going to grow a lot more, not being under Siegfried's roof
Yeah.
and care. He's going to have to figure it out on his own. So I'm excited for him. I am surprised that Helen is not pregnant because that was my prediction at the beginning. I thought she was going to be pregnant.
I'm sure
there's still
like,
time.
If they time
Season
jump,
4.
like they're gonna
There
have a
might be
kid.
a-
Yeah, they'll
that's
probably
true,
if they
probably.
do.
So
Because
yeah,
it'd be
I'm-
2-3 years, right? If they time
Oh,
jump
how
after
is
the
it?
war.
Well, I guess Jenny is just sprouting up, so it won't be that weird. She's just like 3
Jenny's
inches
almost as
taller.
tall as Richard.
She's
I mean, I'm
married, so
sorry,
she's
as
married.
Gerald.
Oh, Gerald. Yeah. She was
when she was
standing
standing next to
Gerald.
him, I'm like, dang, she's tall. She just keeps sprouting up real quick.
I also, I mean, Richard got some character development, and you know I
Mm-hmm.
love Richard. I hope we see more of Malik.
You love Malik. That would
Malik's
be
just
nice
so
to see
gross.
him
I
too.
love it. So yeah, that was how we ended season 3.
I know,
And
it was a good one.
It was a sobber.
Yeah, this whole season was a sobber.
It was
but
hard.
It was a good one.
I swear you gave me all the odd episodes because they were the saddest ones to cover. Odd numbers. This is Christina. She's going to be sad about this one and taking
Yep.
notes through tears.
There you go.
So, yeah, be sure to keep listening as we cover Marie Antoinette next.
And remember, we'll be back with season 4, likely next January.
If you love all creatures as much as we do, email us your thoughts and reflections at ps@witf.org. You can also connect with us on social media on Instagram at WITFORG and Facebook at WITF.org.
This podcast was produced by Amorós for WITF. I'm Beth Cappello.
And I'm Christina Zeiders. Thank you so much for listening to Postscript, All Creatures.
We'd like to thank Pleasant View Communities, UPMC, Murray, Argiers Marathi Neurosurgical Associates of Lancaster, and WITF members for supporting all creatures great and small on WITF. Thank you.